An ugly road trip continues as the Royals are swept in New York. We'll give you our thoughts next on Locked On Royals.
You are Locked On Royals, your daily Kansas City Royals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's another edition of Locked On Royals on the Locked On Podcast Network. As always, I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and you can find me on Twitter or X at JohnnyJ_15. That is at JOHNYJ_15. You also can catch us on wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, Odyssey, and YouTube. Just be sure to hit the follow button and subscribe. For you first-time listeners, if you want to know about the format of this show, we bring you episodes Monday through Friday, including little 60-second recaps at the end of every single game, and that goes into the weekend. But when it comes to these 30-minute episodes, they are always just going to be Monday through Friday, with Friday being a mailbag Friday where you send in questions. We'll get to them over the course of those 30 minutes. Now, a little scheduling update. We are going to be recording tomorrow morning, so we won't have a recap tomorrow night. I was actually busy tonight as well, which is why I wasn't as active on Twitter. Was able to listen to the game, and then I caught the very end of it, but just, was too busy running around where I didn't have the chance to give my thoughts throughout the game. It was another loss for the Royals, but that'll change tomorrow. I will be far more active. But the reason we're recording tomorrow is, yes, I will be busy tomorrow evening. Got some people coming in town, but we will be joined by a very special guest and do that entire 30-minute episode with a host and a co-host. So should be a lot of fun. And that's why it's okay to have an earlier episode and not a recap of the game, because it's more unique to what we typically do here, which is just me talking into the mic. But before we get started, want to give a shout out to our title sponsor in Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off on your first purchase. Let's dive right into it. Royals fall 4-3 tonight at Yankee Stadium. They are swept for the first time in 2025, dropping them to 8-11 through 19 games of the season. They were not swept until June. I want to say it was the end of June in Arlington last year. So they were able to put it off for quite some time. They at times lost a lot of the rubber match games, but if they were up against it, down 2-0 in the series, they would find a way to hold off that sweep. But tonight, it was maybe not more of the same. You saw, the offense get out to an early lead. That was consistent with all three games. The Royals were the team to jump out early, but you put the rotation, you put the pitchers out there in a very tough spot each and every night. And yes, yesterday, they're up 2-0. They are up 2-0 with 2 outs in the 6th inning. You were pitching well, but 2 runs of support, though it feels like a mountain of runs at this point in time, it's not enough. And the takeaway I had in my little 60-second recap, and the takeaway I had from this series, and really you could argue the first 19 games of the season, the margin of error is so small for the rotation. The margin of error is even smaller for the bullpen out there. And I'm not trying to make excuses for John Schreiber tonight. He made a terrible pitch to, right now, the best hitter in baseball, a reigning MVP, and he left that pitch middle. Aaron Judge, even though it was a home run, and I want to say 7 of 30 parks, you don't throw that pitch to Aaron Judge. I don't care if it was hit 315 feet or 500 feet. It was a bad location. He knows it. Everybody knows it. You can't leave pitches in that spot to a hitter as good as him. But the reason I bring up this margin for error and why it can be frustrating is, Chris Bubich tonight goes 5 1/3. He gives up 3 runs in a hitter's ballpark. That should be enough to win you a lot of games. And in fact, every game of this series, unless I'm misremembering something, the Yankees won with 4 runs. On Monday night, they win 4-1. Last night, they win 4-2. Tonight, they win 4-3. The Royals were the team to get out early in all 3 of those games, and it didn't matter. And it's why we're talking about a sweep in this series. When you put that rotation in a spot like that, they're still going to be able to pitch well for the most part, but every time your offense goes down quietly, you're asking them to either protect a lead, which is 1 run. The offense hasn't played well enough to give them a cushion. But that's not the way you want to go about business. You don't want to put your rotation and bullpen in a spot like that every single night out. And what's worse, even though tonight they tie it up after falling behind 3-1, 2 runs at this point in time feels like a lot. If they are trailing by 2 or more runs, you just don't feel good about their chances of coming back. And I know that's going to change. Like, let me be very clear here. And I know there's going to be frustrated people listening to this episode. I know that they're not going to go throughout the rest of the season averaging 2 runs a game. I know there was the stat that going back to Vinny's injury at the end of August last year, the Royals have averaged about 2 runs a game. And that's just not going to win you a lot. We all know that. It has been a major hat tip to the pitching staff. They have been phenomenal. They have pitched well enough in a lot of these games to leave with a W. As for the bullpen, we'll talk about this in the second segment. Like, they're just not able to hand it over to Erceg and Estevez yet because they don't have a lead in the 8th or the 9th inning. And to be 8-11, it's disappointing. There's no way around it. They're playing good teams and they aren't playing up to standard, at least offensively. Their rotation and bullpen have kept them in a lot of baseball games and taking a lot of pressure off the offense where you go, give us 4 runs, give us 5, and we can win a series. And that's the optimistic point of view. That's what keeps you tuning in, as you know, the minute something clicks, and I don't know when that would happen. That's the point of baseball. You don't know when somebody's going to catch fire. You don't know if it's going to be sustainable for a long period of time. Is it going to happen in Detroit? Is it going to happen in the series against Colorado right after that? Because that's the first true terrible team they will face in 2025. But it's all about sustainability. And I'm looking at this rotation. I'm looking at this bullpen. I feel that what they're doing is sustainable for the most part. There is going to be regression. There's going to be stretches, too, where the offense gives them 6 runs and they lose 7-6. And you go, man, if only they could get a good start from somebody. Like, that happens over the course of a long season. Right now, it's incredibly frustrating to see an offense that just can't scratch across a few more runs. Like, even tonight when they tied it, you felt like, man, that's a lot. 3 runs is a lot, and how much more are they going to get? It ended up being none. And there weren't many opportunities for them to score up until the 9th inning. I mean, Vinny Pasquantino leads off with a single, and then Salvador Perez swings at 2 pitches and rolls into a tailor-made double play. Michael Garcia walks, he gets the second, and MJ Melendez rips one to right. Cody Bellinger makes a hell of a play to win that game for New York. It just feels that when we are living and dying each and every inning, it's going to result in a lot of games like this, where if you put your starter on the mound for all 6 innings, and every time he's climbing the bump, you can't make one mistake, that's a tough way to pitch. And these guys thrive on adrenaline, and we have certainly seen with Cole Reagans, and we've seen it with Bubic. We've seen it from all the guys in the rotation. We've seen it from the higher leverage guys in the bullpen. They thrive off that. But it's up to this offense to have those nights where, man, first inning, 3 spot. And then a couple innings later, it's 5-1. So they can go out there and pitch free and easy. You're not having to look at Aaron Judge in the 8th inning and go, man, you can't make one bad pitch here. Yes, he's a great hitter, but if it's even 5-3, a solo home run makes it a 1-run game. But it just feels that every time somebody's out there on the mound, they can't make one mistake. Like when Michael Wacha's out there with a 2-0 lead, you felt that he just couldn't make one bad pitch. Like when he had the leadoff hit to Aaron Judge in the 6th inning, you're going, man, one bad pitch and it's a tie game. And then it's 2 outs, runner at first. Well, you can't walk him here. Oh, you can't load the bases because that's your last hitter. And then for Angel Serpa, he didn't pitch well. But you don't want it to be that spot more often than not. I mean, there's been 3 chances now, I believe, where the Royals needed like one out in the 6th inning and it unraveled for them at that point. No, if the offense can scratch across a few and you give these frontline starters a 4-run cushion, hell, a 3-run cushion early on, you are going to put yourself in a great spot. Because also, if you have a 3-run cushion, you can see the offense loosen up a little bit. When you're needing them to go up to the plate every single time and it's a tie game or you're chasing one, like, you just see a lot of tense hitters right now. And that's the human part of this game. They've got guys that are slumping. They've got key contributors that are not, pulling their own weight. Really, Bobby Witt Jr. is the only guy that's hitting, and everybody else is mightily struggling. And going into the Detroit series, it's going to be an uphill battle to beat them because, Detroit's going to throw Tarek Skubal at them. Tomorrow, they're going to see Reese Olson. They'll see the rookie phenom and Jackson Jobe on Friday night. Like, these are going to be challenging games against good pitching. And so far, good pitching has just stifled Royals hitting. And I don't want to fall back on, well, they're going to see some bad pitching eventually. They got that in game 1. They faced 38-year-old Carlos Carrasco, and he shoved 5 innings, a 1-run ball, 1-hit ball for that matter. Like, when those opportunities present themselves, you got to cash in. And tonight, they got Clark Schmidt making his season debut. They get him for a run in the first. It's all they got until they were trailing 3-1 and Kyle Isbell tripled and then Jonathan India grounded out. I mean, Jonathan India is another guy right now that's slumping a bit. You got to have more from the leadoff spot. And this early on in the season, I mean, 1 or 2 good games and your numbers look completely different. But right now, it's just not happening for them. And it's frustrating. Don't get me wrong. It is tough to, simmer down after a series like this because you were right there in 2 of them. I mean, you technically led in game 1, but then you were down 4-1 for the final 4 innings that you had 1 hit until the 9th inning. Tuesday and Wednesday, different feel to those baseball games. And yet you didn't walk away with any of those games feeling great because you didn't have a W. You were left feeling disappointed. You were desiring more from that series. And I thought after getting a very gutsy win on Sunday in Cleveland, it might have carried over into New York. And for the pitching staff, it did. I mean, if I would have told you they held the Yankees under 5 runs in all 3 games, I say at least they win 1. With the way the offense is playing, maybe not. And that ended up being the case as they are swept in New York, now 8-11 on the season, and they will take on the top team in the AL Central, the Detroit Tigers, for the first time this year. Is an opportunity to gain some ground now. But I look at this road trip. They've won 1 of 5. Or excuse me, I think they are 1-5. So only 1 win in 6 chances. Now you got to win, in my opinion, 3 of 4 to feel all right about the road trip. You get back to face Colorado at 11-12, but winning 3 of 4 with the way this offense is playing, maybe I need to be more realistic and say, all right, we'll just settle for a split, and you limp back to Kansas City with a chance to do some damage against the Rockies. Let's take our first break at the show. When we come back, I've got some thoughts and opinions on Lucas Erceg's usage on this road trip, and maybe more importantly, on the entire season so far. That's coming up on Locked On Royals. You are tuned into Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and you can find me on Twitter or X at JohnnyJ_15. Want to give a shout out to the first sponsor today in PrizePicks. Basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. With PrizePicks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You can even combine players across sports like basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB, that's LOCKEDONMLB, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB, again, LOCKEDONMLB, to get $50 instantly after you play that first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. This has been a talking point now for the entirety of this road trip, and it will wrap up on Sunday in Detroit. And with all the frustration through these first 6 games, there hasn't been many opportunities late for the Royals to go to their key guys. There's absolutely the argument to say yesterday you go to Lucas Erceg instead of Angel Serpa, mainly due to this, idea of the biggest moment in the game. It goes to your best reliever, and Lucas Erceg is this team's best reliever. Is it tough to burn him in the 6th inning? It absolutely is. And actually, I want to give credit to a good buddy, Joel Penfield, does great work over at One Royal Way, the KC Sports Network. He pointed this out, because I don't want to take credit for this. This was absolutely his point, that Hunter Harvey being on the shelf for the 15-day IL is problematic for the bullpen due to situations like that, where maybe if Michael Wacha's pulled with 5 2/3 and you need 1 out, yes, you have Austin Wells coming up, who's a left-handed bat, and Matt Quatrero does love lefty on lefty. You just can go to Hunter Harvey there, and you can use Harvey, Erceg, and Estevez to win you that baseball game. There is this disconnect between the lower leverage guys and the higher leverage guys, and Hunter Harvey was that guy who could bridge the gap. They are trying to find somebody that can be that answer while he's out. My thought is this has to be Daniel Lynch's role, because Daniel Lynch has pitched so damn well going back to September. He hasn't allowed a run since coming back up to Kansas City at the end of August. And to start this year, he's been phenomenal. So I feel that with Hunter Harvey on the shelf, he is the answer for those spots. Maybe that is going to be the case moving forward, and Angel Serpa and Evan Sisk are going to get those lower leverage spots in the 9th inning like Daniel Lynch has been getting. So that's for maybe another conversation. This segment is dedicated to Lucas Erceg. He's thrown 5 pitches on this road trip. He has faced 1 batter, and he struck out that batter. And tonight, I feel, was the time to use him. Because he had thrown 5 pitches, he had only faced 1 batter. Carlos Estevez did not throw in this series either, though he was only going to come in if the Royals had a lead. And yes, the deciding factor tonight was Aaron Judge going to the opposite field and giving the Yankees a 4-3 lead. John Schreiber had gotten the final 2 outs in the 6th inning and then stayed on to just face Aaron Judge. Because after he gave up the home run, Daniel Lynch came in and got out of that frame with no more damage done. That still felt like the opportunity to get Lucas Erceg in the game. He had not thrown to more than 1 hitter on the road trip, hadn't pitched in the series. I felt he might have been good to go for 2. And Aaron Judge was due up. I get the logic where it was, we're going to Schreiber, and if Schreiber can get him out, we're going to Lynch for 2. And now, no matter what, we're going to Erceg in the 8th. And if they take the lead at that point, we're going to Estevez in the 9th. I get the thought process. And I also understand it's April. You manage games, this is my takeaway. You manage games differently in April than you do in September. We would like to say that these games are incredibly important. They are as important as those final games leading into the postseason. There is the difference. We all know that. And the reason there's a difference is we're 19 games in. They're not going to use Lucas Erceg for 6 outs at this point in the season. We get to July, we get to August, September, must-have games. Like right now, these are important games. Don't get it twisted. They are not dire, though. The Royals losing tonight did not end their season. There could be a game or a series in August that you got to have against somebody you're chasing in the division or you're chasing in the wild card, and you got to have your best guys out there. And it can't just be the Lucas Erceg and Carlos Estevez show the rest of the year. They need these lower leverage guys to be serviceable. And John Schreiber's kind of in the in-between there, where he pitches in high leverage spots. He just doesn't get as much success as those elite high-end guys in the bullpen. Still, I look at a spot like that, and say, I want Erceg facing Judge, and I want him facing the guys after Judge. I want to see him face Jazz Chisholm. And then I want to see him face Cody Bellinger, I believe it was. Or maybe it was Austin Wells. Like, I don't care righty or lefty. I want Lucas Erceg in there. And since Lucas Erceg had thrown 5 pitches on the road trip, I would feel it's the good time to get him in the game, and he might be able to go 2 innings because he hasn't pitched since Sunday. Now they're rested, and they're going into the Detroit series, but it's been almost a week, or I shouldn't say almost a week since it was Sunday, half a week. Like, and these guys need to be out there a little bit more. What I always love about Stephen Vogt and Cleveland, and I do believe somebody brought this up during the Cleveland series. Stephen Vogt's got a lot of horses in the bullpen. He uses them a lot. The rotation does not go that deep into many games, but you see Tim Herron all the time. You see Hunter Gaddis all the time. You see Cade Smith all the time. And that's what makes Cleveland so good and has been good for a long, long time. And this goes 20 plus years. Now with Terry Francona and Stephen Vogt, they've had elite bullpens where, okay, Cleveland's down 3-1 and the 6th inning rolls around. They might still go to Tim Herron and then Gaddis and then Cade Smith. And then if they tie it up, Emmanuel Clase. Like, they've got a lot of horses there where if they use those guys up, they've still got, their lower leverage guys that are good to pitch extra innings if need be. The Royals are trying to get there. We are just seeing this tough part or this rough stretch where if it's a 2-run deficit, they're not going to use Lucas Erceg. They are rather going to go with Serpa or, Sam Long or Chris Stratton. And some of these games have unraveled. Tonight, it was a tie game. John Schreiber had done his job in the 6th. And then you get to the 7th, and it was, we got one more batter for you. But that batter is Aaron Judge. And we know what he can do with a mistake. Who's more likely to make the mistake, John Schreiber or Lucas Erceg? It's John Schreiber, and it happened. I'm not just saying it hindsight 2020. Like, I just would have loved to see Lucas Erceg in that spot with the ability maybe to work an extra inning if he only threw 8 to 10 pitches. If you just use him for the 7th, okay. Then we'll go to Daniel Lynch in the 8th because it'll be the lower portion of the order. That just was my thought on it. I know there are some other people that feel the same way. I'm also not a manager. I don't have all the data in front of me. John Schreiber with his arm angle and the slider down and away, he could get Aaron Judge to strike out. It didn't happen. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities moving forward for John Schreiber to pitch in a high leverage spot. When he gets it done, pound the chest, feel good about what he did. The issue is the offense. We all know that. And we do understand that this margin of error for the pitching staff is so small. Where, hey, if it was 7-3, yeah, leave John Schreiber in for the whole damn inning for all I care. Like, you don't need to burn your best guys just yet. But since the offense has given him 3 runs or less every time out, and at times not even 3 runs, the bullpen, the rotation, they are climbing that bump and going, I got to be perfect. I got to go 1, 2, 3. I got to keep the pitch count down. I can't run into any trouble because if I give up the lead here, if I have a 1-0 lead and I give up 3 runs, this game might be over. And that's not the way you want to go about it. So I believe Lucas Erceg going into the Detroit series needs to be used at least 3 times in this series. He's rested. And hopefully all 3 of those times are in winning situations for the Royals so they can lock it down and get back closer to 500. Okay, let's take our final break of the show. When we come back, let's preview that upcoming series against the top team in the American League Central, the Detroit Tigers. That's next on Locked On Royals. You are tuned into Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jack Johnson, and you can find me on Twitter or X at JohnnyJ_15. Want to give a shout out to the title sponsor in Gametime. Now, the homestand is coming up at the beginning of next week. It'll be the Colorado Rockies and then the Houston Astros. So 2 teams, if I'm not mistaken, I believe those are 2 teams. I know the Rockies are under 500, but with the Houston Astros, they're either hovering around or under it. They're 8-10, like the Royals were going into tonight. So perfect time to head to Gametime and buy some tickets for the upcoming homestand. Hopefully the Royals can have some momentum after this Detroit series, going back home and get the offense going a little bit, because we know there's nothing better than catching an MLB game live, the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and smell of ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Gametime makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and the lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as Gametime gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off on your first purchase. Those terms apply, so again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. The upcoming series for the Royals will be in Detroit, and I know I got some criticism on it before the season when I picked the Tigers to win the division. And 18 of the 19 games is not going to tell the whole story, because I also don't believe Detroit has been exceptional. But they are 10-8. They are leading this division, and the Royals will head into Detroit 2.5 games back of first place. They're also 3 games ahead of last place. I guess I was doing the math in my head there. White Sox are 4-13. The Twins are 7-12. Royals, of course, at 8-11. They have lost 3 in a row. Cleveland, they are 9-8, a half game back of the Tigers, and Detroit leading the Central at 10-8. And a reminder again that tomorrow's episode will be in the morning. We'll have a very special guest joining us from another Royals podcast, so we'll have lots of fun breaking down this series, talking about that Yankees series, and maybe where you can look to for signs of improvement. And why I do feel it's the best time to play Detroit is, the Tigers, they didn't have that impressive of a series against Milwaukee. In fact, it went almost identical to the way the Royals series went in Milwaukee. The Tigers beat the brakes off the Brewers in Game 1, got shut out 5-0 in Game 2. It's exactly what happened to the Royals in Game 2 of that series. And then tonight, or actually this afternoon, they fell to the Brewers 5-1. So last 2 games, they've only had 1 run. Offense is slumping a little bit, but the Royals are going to have to go up against some of the top arms in that rotation. They just finished up, or they will be finishing up, the back half of the rotation in Game 1 and Game 2. Then they're going to see Casey Mize, and on Sunday, they're going to see Tarek Skubal. Now, the pitching matchups have already been decided for these games. I want to make sure that Sunday is also confirmed at this point in time. So going into tomorrow, it'll be the former Tiger, actually, and Michael Lorenzen. He is going to get the ball going up against Reese Olson, who has a 6.00 ERA in 15 innings. His last time out against the Twins, he gave up 4 earned and 4 1/3, and his only quality start this year came against the Chicago White Sox. He pitched against the Dodgers. For his first start of the year, he went only 4 2/3. He gave up 4 runs on 4 hits, struck out 5, walked 2, and then again another sub-5 inning performance against the Twins on April 11th. The Royals have seen him. They saw him a lot last year. They saw him the year before that as well. Some of the guys that have fared well against Reese Olson, Bobby Witt Jr., he's hitting .545 and 11 at-bats against Olson. You've got Michael Garcia, who's hitting 310 at-bats against him. Kyle Isbell's hitting 405 at-bats against him. MJ Melendez is 0 for 9 against Reese Olson. Vinny Pasquantino's 0 for 4. Salvador Perez is only hitting .231 in 13 at-bats. Hunter Renfroe is 0 for 2 at-bats. And Freddie Fermin is 1 for 1 against him in his career. So Lorenzen, going for the Royals, he's got a 3.71 ERA. We know he's been pretty good as the number 5 starter for the Royals, and going into a different environment, a place he was very familiar with in pitching off that mound at Comerica Park. He's got a big ballpark to play with here, and he's got a defense, hopefully, that can not let him down behind him. This game will actually be on FS1 as well, so you'll get some national coverage for the Royals tomorrow. Again, Michael Lorenzen and Reese Olson will go toe-to-toe, a 5:40 first pitch to kick off this 4-game series. Then they're actually going to have Cole Reagans and Jackson Jobe going to square off on Friday night. Now, Jackson Jobe is the young phenom for Detroit, throws 1,000,000 miles an hour. This season so far, 3.00 ERA in 3 starts, had 6 shutout innings against Minnesota his last time out. For as hard as he throws, he's only got 9 strikeouts on the year. He's struggled with command a little bit, walked 4 in his first start, then walked 3 after that, and then walked just 1 against Minnesota. But the 2 prior to that didn't work that deep into the game. It was the first time he went 6 innings on April 12th against Minnesota. Royals have not seen him before because he made his debut, I want to say, in the postseason last year. So no familiarity with Jackson Jobe going in that Friday game. Cole Reagans, though, will be the counterpart for Kansas City. Then on Saturday, Lugo versus Casey Mize. Casey Mize has been very good this year, a 2.60 ERA in 17 and a third innings pitch. He did give up 4 runs and 5 2/3 in his last time out against Minnesota, but had a quality start against the Yankees. 6 innings, just 1 run, 5 2/3, no runs allowed in his first start of the year against Seattle. And need I say more about Tarek Skubal? I mean, the Royals will counter with Michael Wacha, so it's unfortunate for Wacha because he's faced some really good arms in all of his starts. He's 0-3, the 4.35 ERA. Just had to go up against Max Fried. Now he gets Tarek Skubal, who was brilliant in his outing against Milwaukee. He went 7 shutout innings in that one, struck out 9, walked nobody. In fact, in his last 2 starts against the Yankees and the Brewers, he struck out 15, walked nobody, giving up just 8 hits, no runs since his first start of the year. In fact, I think actually his second start of the year, he's made 4. Yeah, already 4 starts this year. Started against the Dodgers, didn't do so well, and then started against Seattle. Did okay, was 1 out away from a quality start, struck out 8, but walked 3. The Royals do have some success against Tarek Skubal, so we'll see. These two actually faced off against each other in Detroit last year on a Sunday game as well. That one will be a first pitch of 12:40. So those are the pitching matchups. Those are some of the numbers for you guys leading you into the series, and we'll have a further breakdown tomorrow morning for our Thursday episode. But that'll do it for another edition of Locked On Royals and the Locked On Podcast Network. I have been your host, Jack Johnson. Thank you for making Locked On Royals your first listen today. For your second, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale, and you can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Tomorrow, we're gonna have a co-host with us as we will preview that series and look ahead maybe to the upcoming homestand. But until tomorrow morning, you take it easy, Kansas City.